Hello everyone. Thanks for joining me today. I'm making another birthday card for my other daughter. Yes, I had both of them in September. She's already received this by now, so I know it's safe to post. For today's card, if you're interested in seeing it, make sure you stick around. I am using Darling Details. I'm using those two images, that image, and that's it for images. Okay, from the dies, I'm going to use that border die. I really love that idea. I'm using the die to cut out the big flower and the small flower. I'm using the die to cut out the leaf spray, and I'm using this die that just cuts out 3 leaves, but it's they're open, so I wanted some more detail. I am using the exposed brick embossing folder. I still haven't found my favorite embossing folder. I think I'm gonna have to tear this room apart one day and see if I can't find it. But there's the the embossing folder I'm gonna use. I'm gonna use some Lemon Lolly ink, Granny Apple Green ink, and Balmy Blue ink. And I'm using some of the Balmy Blue sparkle ribbon that's in the holiday catalog. For your card, you are going to need a piece of Balmy Blue that's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. You need 2 pieces of white that are 4 by 5 1/4. One is for the inside. I pulled in a piece of the Settles 6x6 collection. This is the one that I'm using, and it's 1.5 by 5 1/4. And you need a scrap of white and a scrap of Balmy Blue. So first thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna put all of this out of the way so it's not going to interfere with anything. And I am going to emboss my cardstock. Now, I am doing my card in, oh, I forgot to say, this card was inspired by Barb Brimhall. I saw it on Pinterest and knew I wanted to give it a try. Okay. If you're going to do your card portrait, you want to put your paper in this way. If you're doing it in landscape, you want to put it in this way. My card is going to be in landscape. So I'm going to emboss this. All right, I've got my piece embossed and set to go. Now I'm going to take, excuse me, I'm going to take my stamps and my inks and a scrap piece of paper, and this one is just about ready for the trash. I'm going to start with my Lemon Lolly. All right, now the Lemon Lolly is really light, so I'm not going to do any off stamping. As you can see, I mean, it's really light. I probably need to re-ink this, and I did this backwards. So we'll see. Guess what? I'm going to flip it over because this is the one I need to do first. You want to do your outline first because then it's easier to match up. All right. Especially since this is such a light color. All right. So there's that one. Now I'll go back and I'll ink up the inside and stamp it. All right. Yeah, it's so light, you just can't, it's not good to off stamp it. All right, so there's my first flower. The second flower is going to be Balmy Blue, and I will off stamp this one. Oops, wrong way. Almost did it again. I'm going to stamp my outline. I'm going to move over. Oh, I can't do it there. because I've got to cut the bottom. All right, so there's that. And then I'm going to take the Balmy Blue, off stamp it, and do the inside. All right, if the lemon lolly, excuse me, if the lemon lolly is too light to see, take and stamp the outline with like daffodil and do the inside with lemon lolly. All right, so I've got that. Now I'm going to take and I'm going to do my leaf sprays with Granny Apple Green. And I don't know if these are going to be too bright or if I want to off stamp them. Let's find out. Let's try one. Oh, I think I want it off stamped. I'm going to turn this one this way because then I can cut this out of the bottom and I have space to get those. So I have a lot of die cutting to do and then I will be back. Let me close this up before I forget. All right, I got all my pieces cut and I realized I wasn't supposed to cut that out of white. That was what the strip of Balmy Blue was for. So I cut it out of that. All right, now I'm going to take, and this is going to go on the top, but I'm going to leave a little bit of a border. I don't normally use glue to put this on, but I don't really have a choice because the ribbon, the glue will come through the back of this. I'm going to try it because I'm going to put the ribbon on top. I would normally weave the ribbon through, but it doesn't fit. It's wider than, let me show you. I did cut one of these out of white. So I will show you this ribbon is wider than the hole. So it doesn't go through easy. It bunches up. Well, you know what? I think it'll work. I should have tried it before I put this down. All right, let me take this off very carefully. And then I can take and very carefully, because I haven't pushed this down, pull it off. I usually get enough going. There we go. All right. Take two. And now I've got the tape stuck to me. There. All right. Let's try weaving it through. Now, if I did all this and I took that ribbon off, oh, wait a minute. I want to cut this. I have to cut it here. I'm going to cut straight up there. And I'm going to cut this way, the back side, so I can cut it straight. And that should fit across. And then I don't have to worry about glue on the back because I'm going to wrap my ribbon around to the back. All right, so I'm going to go, okay, I've got to come this way. You got to think about the way you're going to weave this through. You don't want your ribbon to hide your flowers. So think about that. All right. I'm going to pull a big piece through. All right, that should be enough. All right. Oh, more than enough. Let me take some back. All right, I'll give myself a little bit of extra. I'm going to take, now that you know what I'm doing, I'm going to take and do this and I'll speed it up because you don't need to see me do this through the whole thing. Okay, just keep in mind, as you're weaving this through, you don't want your ribbon to get twisted. I had to trim mine because it got frayed. So I'm going to trim this edge also so I can wrap it around to the back. Now, this ribbon would be better cut at an angle to weave it through, all right, only because it's thicker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this to the back, and I'm going to add some double-sided tape. Let me make sure, where's the top? You don't want your words upside down, which they are that way. Yes, there's harvest. Oh, and this is not the exposed brick. Oh, this is the, it's okay. It's, oh, I can't even think of the name of it now. What is the name of this thing? I have got to look it up now because it's driving me crazy. Time-worn type. My exposed brick is probably downstairs with cards, or I just grabbed the wrong one. Doesn't matter. Same idea. The exposed brick would have been prettier, but I got it. All right, I'm going to wrap that to the back. And when you wrap the other side, make sure it's straight across. And then because these ends are sticking up, take a glue dot, all right, and take your pokey tool and roll it into a ball and stick it at the top here and stick it down like so. Let me put the tape on the back of this, because if I don't, it will probably come off, and that will not be good. And I'm going to use my double-sided tape all the way around because this is embossed, and I want to make sure it stays stuck to my card. I don't want my daughter to get this and it to be falling apart. She would just laugh though. So let me get this. All right. Okay, so I've got that. Now I can do the other side with the glue dot. I used a glue dot because lots of things will not stick to like ribbon, glitter paper. So I just use a glue dot. Those things do stick. And see, now it's kind of held in place. Next thing we want to do is I want to put this down at the bottom, and I am again going to leave a little bit of space. Make sure this is the right size. Here lately I've been cutting it the wrong way. I did a video earlier this week. Cut the paper totally wrong. I had it cut right and said, oh no, I cut it wrong. Went back, recut it, and it was wrong. It was too short. All right, so I'm going to put this down here. And I'll tell you, that looked upside down to me. It may not have been, but it looked like it to me. So I took in switched it around. All right, I got to cut this edge off. There. All right, now this piece is ready to go on our card base. So I'm going to, oh, and you know what I didn't do? I was supposed to stamp happy birthday before I embossed it. Okay, well, we're going to pivot again. I'm telling you, this past couple of days, or actually week, has been a interesting time for me. I had all kinds of issues and mistakes, and it was like, okay. But I make the mistakes, so you don't have to. So we'll redo it. We'll figure out what to do. All right, that's scored just a little slightly off, so I'm gonna flip it to the back, because then you don't see. Sometimes when you score, you get just a little tiny edge like this. I just flip it to the back because nobody then can see. All right, let me get my images on. This one is going to go on with dimensionals. So I'm going to pull them out and get this on. That last one doesn't want to come. All right. And I'm going to put this one down here like so. Now these I'm going to put on with glue dots. And the reason I'm going to use a glue dot is I'm tucking it under. And because I've used embossing, an embossed piece, I'm going to make sure it sticks. This one won't be a problem. All right, so let me get a glue dot here and a glue dot here. And I'm going to put this one just slightly under so you can't see where it's joined. And I have another sheet of glue dots. I like my glue dots in a sheet. I find them easier to use than the roll. So, all right, there's that. So there's that. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to use a glue dot and I'm going to stick it. I've got my dimensional there, so guess what? I'm going to do some surgery and cut off that bottom set of leaves. And see, I can still get that up under there. All right, I'm going to take this all the way off just because it'll be easier to use. All right, so I'm going to put that in there like so. This piece I'm going to take and I'm going to put a dot of glue. Oh no. Okay. After a lot of issues, I still couldn't get it to work. So what I did was I put a blob on my paper here, and I'm going to dip my stem in there and put it down like so. Where there's a will, there's a way. All right, now this one goes on next. Be careful when you do this. Make sure that you kind of stick your finger underneath the glue dot and pinch it and pull it up so it doesn't stick. All right, there. And I'm going to put those on there before I make a mess. Move this over here, and I'm going to get some glue on this, and I put it on the wrong side, so guess what? Good thing it dries clear. There's that. And I have one more that I'm going to put down here like so. And then I'm going to put this in the trash because if I don't, I'll have a mess. All right, now I have to do my sentiment. So I'm going to take a scrap of white and the balmy blue ink. And I'm going to stamp my happy birthday. I didn't think it was inked up. It's just such a light color. I need to re-ink my pads. All right, I'm going to cut this in a rectangle. All right, I cut that down, and then I cut a piece that's bigger by like 1/4 of an inch. So it just depends on how you cut it. All right. Let me put this down. All right. Almost. Wow. This has not been a good week for me for crafting. I don't know why, but it hasn't. All right. I've got some pieces on here I can use. And almost. And I'm not going to add any bling to this. I know, shocker, right? But there's a lot going on here. So there's my oldest daughter's birthday card. And I stamped the inside and the envelope. Thanks for joining me for this Fabulous Friday idea with all kinds of issues, and for sticking with me to see the finished card. I appreciate your watching. If you're new to my channel or you haven't already, hit the subscribe button below and be notified when I upload new videos. Have a fabulous Friday, guys. Bye.